you tree. See here, imagine you all write the exam, you qualify. Exam results are out. Tell me, will you be expecting the certificate immediately after passing in the exam?
Yes.
How many days you can wait? How many days you can wait for your certificate?
One day or 2 days.
One day or 2 days. So within 1 or 2 days, customers are expecting the certificate. So results are out. Now what we need to do? First step, we need to print the certificate. So our process starts with printing of the certificate. When this process will complete, the moment all of you receive the certificate in your hand. Am I right?
Yes.
Process starts with the printing of the certificate. Process ends once we receive the acknowledgement from all of you.
Yeah.
This process now needs to be improved to address your pain point of waiting so long to receive the certificate. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
All the activities that happens between these 2 points are in your scope, or in the scope of the project. Everything that you do from printing the certificate till the customer acknowledges the receipt of the certificate, all the activities are under the project. But anything beyond is not in the scope of the project. Am I talking correctly? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You have received the certificate, but you have misplaced it. Do you think I will solve that problem also? That is not in my scope, isn't it? So scope has to be understood. Then only roles and responsibility can be created. Project can go on smoothly. Where the process starts, where it ends. What is in scope? Anything that is between start and finish is in scope. Anything beyond, it is out scope. Right? And all the parties who are connected with all the activities needs to be visualized, because all of them are customers, all of them are stakeholders, all of them have the requirement. The certificate printing person will require your marks, then only he can print your certificate. Isn't it? So the requirement, when I ask the customer, when do you want the certificate? He will say, I need it in 1 day. Do you think you can give the certificate within 1 day? You will do all these things within a day? 100 programs are happening. All 100 programs have so many participants. Everybody wants the certificate in 1 day. Some of them are in Hyderabad. Can you give the certificate within 1 day? A lot of challenges, isn't it? So you need to figure out whether the pain point can be resolved, and if resolved, to what extent. Maybe you can try to issue the certificate within 3 days or within 10 days, something, right? And then you can continuously improve. So what are we interested here? The cycle time of the certificate issue process. Am I right? The cycle time of the certificate issue process, it starts from printing the certificate until an acknowledgement is received. And now I understand, when I start thinking deeper, I understand my capital Y depends on 3 more Y. What is Y1? Certificate should be printed and that should be given to the dispatch clerk in the office. Am I right?
Yeah.
He requires the mark who are all qualified, and certificate is printed, and that printed certificate should be given to the dispatch team. There is a cycle time involved for that also, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he receives the mark statement, he will probably do the setup with the printer and everything. He has to procure the certificate papers, and then it will be printed, it should be signed. That has a cycle time. This cycle time should be reduced, then only capital Y will reduce. Then the certificates are printed, signed. Now dispatch team has received the certificate, all certificates received. Now they have to seal it properly, give your address correctly. Your address should be the true address, isn't it? And then everything should be taken here, it's sealed and then stamped, and then it should be handed over to the courier till it reaches the courier fellow or courier office. That is the second process, isn't it? That is called Y2. A cycle time is involved there also. This should also be reduced, then only Y will reduce. And then I hand over to the courier fellow. And now courier fellow has their own, already standardized process. Within the city, 1 day delivery. Within the state, 2 day delivery. Out of state, 3 day delivery. That is standardized. That is slightly out of your reach. So Y3. Now your Y depends on Y1, Y2, and Y3. Do you now understand how to understand the problem? Now, which is actually bottleneck? Is it the courier fellow is your bottleneck? Or is it the dispatch team is the bottleneck? or the printing section is the bottleneck. Suppose you realize printing section takes so much time, then your project is on Y1. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So this is how you must drill down the problem. This is called CTQ drill down, and the tree I have given it in the form of a table. It's called a CTQ tree. You can also draw it like normal tree and call it a CTQ tree. Right? The unit of measurement. The customer is worried in terms of number of days. He is not interested in measuring your delivery time in terms of hours. But if you really improve your process, then you can talk in terms of hours. You have improved a lot, talk in terms of minutes. You improved a lot, talk in terms of seconds. It's all possible. But right now, your process is operating in terms of the number. Is a long way to go, right? And target is make the deliveries happen within 3 days. Right? So, voice of customer. What is voice of customer? We need certificate faster. And now drill it down. First level CTQ. Further drill it down. Second level CTQ. Right? Here, the operational the machine should be easy to operate and maintain. This is the voice of customer. Who is the customer now? Machine operator is the customer. Employee. This is voice of employee. Voice of employee is also voice of customer. How come an employee become customer? Employee is an internal customer. Unless and until you satisfy internal customer, you can't satisfy external customer. So what are your operator telling? He expects operational convenience. You are asking him further. You talk to him further. What is operational convenience? Huh? Anybody, any kind of operator should be able to operate the machine. If you expect only diploma holders and engineers to operate the machine, that is not the meaning of operational convenience. Anybody joins, a fresh fellow, join your company as operator, he should quickly learn and then operate the machine. That means he is talking about skill level of the operator. And then the difficulty level of setup. In order to make them run the machine, so many setups have to be taken care of. That will definitely drive dissatisfaction. So the number of the setup required should happen very fast, quick changeover, right? You just press the button and then start the machine. That's all. All the setup is taken care of. This is the kind of thing. And level of automation, level of digital control, and this is the meaning of operational convenience. I don't think still it is in a convincing manner. You have to drill down further. Finally, you should be able to measure it. If you make it measurable, then only it is called a CTQ. Ease of maintenance, time between failure. Can you measure time between failure? Measure down, and then after 5 days, it again breaks down. Now, what is the time between failure? 5 days. Now it is a CTQ. If you can bring number, it is a CTQ, right? So a statement we should drill it down and make it more specific, make it easy to measure. Now it is called a CTQ. If you are not identifying CTQ, if you don't convert your Y and X, Y variable as well as X variable, as well as the Z variable in a measurable way, no, your project has not yet started. Everything should be measurable. So many examples. Customer a good service. What do you mean by good service? Representative should be knowledgeable. What do you mean by knowledgeable representative? He should answer every question very correctly. You are asking us so many doubts. We should answer it correctly, isn't it? And then representative answer the question on the spot. That also customer wants, right? And researched or otherwise, if certain questions cannot be answered on the spot, then the researching should be done very fast, and then answer must be returned very quickly. See, this is how slowly the requirement becomes crystal clear. Your requirements have to be specific and should be easy to measure. Then only they are called CTQ. Now the voice of customer is like this. Can one of you read out the voice of customer here?
I just need a quality footwear.
Quality footwear. So what are the CTQs here? What do you mean by quality footwear? What are you concerned about with respect to your footwear? What did you see when you buy a footwear? Maybe
size. The size.
Very good.
And the comfort.
So cost is the driver of satisfaction. Correctly said. And then comfort. Comfort is the driver of satisfaction. Lightweight. A shoe should be lightweightness, isn't it?
Yes. Durable.
It should be roomy enough. It should give you a stable experience, right? And now convert everything into measurable way. Lightweight. You are concerned about overall weight of the shoe. The overall weight of the shoe is 220 grams. Oh, very good. Isn't it? So get to quickly understand the level of satisfaction with the certain number. Comfortable. Maybe customer is talking about heel height. See, it's not exhaustive. I'm only giving an example, right? You can make it exhaustive. Durable. Customer is talking about the number of kilometers he can use your shoe for running or walking or playing, right? Do me enough. He's talking about the width and the contour width and depth, because he is concerned about whether he can move the fingers after wearing the shoe or not. He wants some air to flow even inside the thing. That is called, roomy enough, stable, and whether it is really flat enough so that I can use it for manual purpose, right? So that I don't fall down. So now do you understand a less specific statement, which is a voice of customer, is now converted into a more specific requirement? It was initially very hard to measure, but now it is easy to measure. That means you converted the voice of customer into CTQs, right? So CTQs can be Y variable, CTQs can be X variable, CTQs can be Z variable. If CTQs are Y variable, that's a project. If CTQ is a X variable, that is one of the cost factor in a project. If CTQ is a Z variable, that is a business consequence, right? Connected to the strategic results of your company. Projects, Six Sigma projects are problems related to Y variables. Here why. The customer segment complains about responding to the queries, a metric that can be used to track the performance. What is the best option here? Complaint is about delay in responding to the queries. Which metric will you use now?
Response time.
Response time.
Very good.
Response time.
Response time. There is no point of working, trying to improve the delivery time. That has nothing to do with the problem which you are trying to solve. The customer expects you to respond fast. So you need to measure the response time. You need to define the response time. What is the response time? The time lapsed the moment the customer raises a query, and then the moment it is addressed. Your clock should start at the right time and should stop at the right time. That is called response time. Otherwise, you will not be able to please your customer. The customer segment complains about the longer transaction that is happening in the bank. A metric that can help you to track the performance. Which metric will you use now? Again, a question.
Transaction.
Now it is, the customer is worried about the transactions. Measure the transaction time. Very good. Dash comes from within business and dash is provided by the customer. Which voice comes from business and which is provided by the customer? Which is the correct option here?
Cost.
Last one.
Poor quality.
Last one. Very good. Voice of business comes from within the business. Voice of customer is provided by the customer. To capture the voice of the customer, it is important to collect data from a large representative sample of the target customer base. Right? To capture the voice of the customer, it is important to collect data from the real customer segment. To collect the data, which one will you refer to? Will you refer to government record? You are doing a project. Will you refer to government record? Will you use surveys and questionnaire, or will you use some census data, or will you refer to some case studies? Some others could have done the project. Which is a better option now?
Surveys and
Survey and
questionnaires.
questionnaire.
Beautiful. Surveys and questionnaire. So voice of customer is one source from where you can create project. Voice of business is another source. Just allow them to talk. They will cry because they have a hell lot of problem. Create a platform where they can actually represent their problem. You will have a list of projects. And now cost of poor quality. All the cost associated with any kind of failure. What is a failure? Ineffectiveness is a failure. What is a failure? Inefficiency is a failure. All the ineffectiveness should be measurable. All the inefficiency should be measurable. That means everything needs to be converted into CTQ. How can you measure quality in terms of dollars? You can measure, isn't it? If there are rejection, your company is losing, so many lakhs. That's a cost of poor quality. Cost of poor quality can be direct cost, can be indirect cost. What is direct cost? Money goes out from your pocket. That is direct cost. For example, for joining the training program, all of you paid the fees. Am I right?
Yes.
You think it is somewhere around 20,000 rupees. But what is your worth for 40 hours? If I ask you the question, can you answer? What is your worth for about 40 hours. Come on, yeah. All of you, you can just share, throw some light. If you work 40 hours, how much
Next
How much
level.
you should be paid? If you ask me, then I'm interested in saying that I need 10,000 rupees per hour.
Hmm.
So how much is worth? You can calculate. Similarly, you will have some rate, isn't it? Let's say 20,000 rupees per hour. So how much you are worth for 40 hours?
Hmm.
40 hours into 10,000, it's several lakhs. So what is your cost for joining this program? Is it only 20,000 rupees? Much more than that, isn't it?
Yes.
So always there is a direct cost, there is an indirect cost. Whether it is failure or success, there will be direct component, there will be indirect component. Direct component, you understand the loss or benefit immediately because that goes from your packet. But there are several things that goes from outside of your packet, isn't it? Those are all called indirect cost, right? And direct cost again can be classified into internal and external because if the failure is noticed by you, that is internal failure. If the failure is noticed by somebody who can talk bad about you, that is called external failure. If the failure is noticed after dispatching the product, that is external failure. If the failure is noticed before dispatching the product, that is internal failure. That means if your quality control is strong enough, you can detect all the failures internally. If your quality control is weak, then also come across external failure. Quality control means containment of the problem. That's all. That is not problem solving. Most of you are doing the problem containment. You are doing quality control. But problem solving is the DMAC. Problem solving is the other methodologies, other problems. There are several approaches exist. A3 and 8D, PDCA, so many ways you can solve a problem. But the superior one is what you are learning right now. DMAC methodology, right? And you can read all these things that there are good examples, right? Internal failure, scrap and rework is an internal failure. But sales return, after selling the products are returning, that's an external failure, right? Loss of productivity. You are supposed to produce 1,000 units a day, but you produced only 900. That 100 units is a loss, right? Only very few companies measures that as a loss and then account that loss also and record it. Data will be available, right? And in software, the cost of poor qualities are like software crashing, deadlocks, incorrect outputs, and in administration, disclosure of trade secret, right? And facilities redesigned very frequently, overstaffing, understaffing, equipment downtime, equipments are unused, idle, purchasing, the line down cost, excessive inventory, premium freight, and then marketing, overstocking, because the forecasting is done badly, loss of market share, incorrect order entry, all of them are cost of poor quality related to marketing. Personal, people are not coming to the job. There are a lot of absentees and people are leaving the job. So many turnover, so many grievances are coming. We now think Six Sigma is applicable in all these areas. Many people very frequently ask us the question, sir, Six Sigma, is it applicable in software? Wherever there is a customer, wherever there is a process, wherever there is a failure, Six Sigma will come and help you, right? So cost of poor quality can be internal, cost of poor quality can be external. Suppose I do a mock exam, mock black belt exam. You don't perform well. What is that failure called? Internal failure or external failure? That's a mock exam, isn't it?
Yes.
You are checking your preparedness. It's a quality control, and that's an internal failure. And I have listed several things, right? These are all internal failure. And your scrap, rework, material replacement, equipment downtime, higher inventory, and all of them are internal failure because customer doesn't bother about all these things. Customer bothers only after receiving the product, and that is called external failure. For example, recently Ford, they have recalled 375,000 of their SUV cars in Canada and America. They sold the product. I mean, the cars were sold, and now they found that the steering has an issue, and then they have recalled everything. 375,000 SUV vehicles were recalled and then rectified. This is an external failure. People come to know, customer come to know that you have sold a defective product to them. Isn't it? That will spoil your brand image, and then that will also kill your money. So cost of poor quality, generally companies believe that 4 to 5% of their sales they will lose as a cost of poor quality. But reality is different. If you look at my slide, you see the iceberg, the portion of the iceberg is visible and the major portion of the iceberg is invisible. What is hiding the iceberg? The water is hiding the iceberg. Same way, if you don't have right people, if you don't have right process, if you don't have right system, that will hide all the problems in your organization. Am I correct? If you go
Yes,
to
sir.
a company and ask them what are their problems, do you think they will openly tell all the problem? They're not going to, right? Problems are not visible in many organizations. It doesn't mean that there are no problem. They are only not speaking out. They are not transparent enough. So the visible portion of cost of poor quality, they generally think it is only 4 to 5%. These are nothing but the rejections, warranty claims, repairs, rework, recall, over inspection. These are all the things they talk and then they measure and then document. There are many things they do not talk, there are many things they do not measure, they do not document because they lag in terms of the knowledge. Because they lag, they don't have proper system. They don't have proper visualization mechanisms for problem identification. If you account the invisible portion also, they will realize 20 to 45% of their sales is burnt in the form of cost of poor quality. If you work on cost of poor quality, profit can be doubled, profit can be tripled. Are you now able to appreciate the statement? Profits can be doubled, profits can be tripled without increasing the price of the product because you are working on reducing the cost of poor quality. And that is why Six Sigma is considered a profit maximization approach. This is why companies who understand, they embrace it. Companies do not understand, no, they think Six Sigma will not work. And these are all the invisible portion of the cost of poor quality, and majority of them will be taught under the upcoming modules. You will be most of you, most of them you will be already familiar. So the benefit is, if you do more of quality assurance and quality prevention activities, what will happen? You don't have to do a lot of quality control. A lot of inspection is not required. Why? Because you are working on assurance and prevention. If you work Six Sigma is a defect prevention approach, why do you want the failure to happen? Can you predict failure and work? How will you predict? You should know statistics. You should know normal distribution. If my average is like this, if my standard deviation is like this, failures are going to be more. I will not produce anything, but I will still improve my process. Production will be going on one side. I will be doing on improvement, right? So spend more on assurance and prevention. That will bring down your appraisal activities. That will bring down your failure cost like anything. Right? This is called cost alignment. And this is the thumb rule. If you spend 1 rupee in prevention, you will save 10 rupee in correction. You will also save 100 rupee in failure. Instead of spending 1 rupee in prevention, if you save 1 rupee, if you are conscious enough to save 1 rupee in prevention, what will happen? You will lose 10 rupee in correction. You will lose 100 rupee in the failure. Right? Alignment is very important. Do more of prevention and assurance so that your appraisals and failures can come down. So increasing the Sigma level. Sigma, see, Six Sigma projects are nothing but we reduce the cost, we reduce the defects. You keep on reducing the defects, keep on improving the Sigma level. Sigma level works at the CTQ level. Every Y variable will have a Sigma level. Every X variable can have a Sigma level. If the Sigma level of all the X variables are perfect, Y will never be a problem. If all the Y variables are, the Sigma levels are great, your product will be great. If all your products are great, your organization will be great. There is a connection. How many products will be there? How many Y variable will be there? How many X variable will be there? How many opportunities are there for improvement? Endless, right? So increasing the Sigma level brings down your DPMO as well as PPM. And a thumb rule is, if your Sigma levels are 6 and above, you will see that still failure exists, but definitely it will be less than 1% of the sales, right? But for you to improve the Sigma level from one level to other level, probably you need to drive several projects, right? Every Sigma level, the thumb rule is cost of quality will decrease by approximately 10%. So you have problems based on the customer's voice. You have problems based on the business voice. You have problems based on the cost of poor quality. And result is a list of opportunities. Result is list of opportunities. The list of opportunities is called Project Hopper. Do you now see several projects listed? Reduction of number of customer complaints. Currently, it is every month you are receiving 22 complaints. Is it good for your company? No. You need to reduce. In order to make your goal realistic, you are trying to bring it below 10, and then probably you will try to bring it below 5, and then you will try to bring it to 0. Slowly, it will, series of projects are required. So the project for a production department, and it's a DMAC project, and expected saving is 29 lakhs. Now you have so many projects in your hand. This is called a project hopper. Every department should have an issue hopper. Projects of apex level of organizational importance are identified based on business level dashboard. Your leaders will look at the business level dashboard and then understand the gap, identify projects. Similarly, this is called top down. Similarly, projects of operational excellence, projects of Six Sigma are mostly operational excellence. They are identified from bottom up. Since projects are identified from bottom up, it is very important to check the alignment of your goals with the apex level goals. That's called goal alignment. So each business unit or division or department should create improvement issues in the form of a project hopper. So now again, the same list of project hopper, and now they are categorized, and department wise is mentioned here. Project methodology wise it is mentioned here. Now I categorize them based on department. Logistics department, there is one project. And assembly department, there are several projects. Production department, there are several projects. HR department, there are several projects. Now you understand the problems department wise. What is this diagram called? This diagram is called affinity diagram. Right? This is a table, right? But it classifies the problem according to a certain category. So people immediately understand. Assembly department, there are more problems. Logistics, comparatively, less problem. You get an idea. That's a tool that is helping you, right? So that is about affinity diagram. And you should be very, very effective in conducting brainstorming, either in a structured manner or in an unstructured manner. Put a lot of conditions, your brainstorming will become structured. No conditions, anybody can talk the way they want. That is unstructured, right? You explore all these tools. So what do you understand? In order to identify a project, you must have clear understanding on the business processes that exist. You might think it is a training, but how many processes are involved? Not only teaching, not only learning, not only exam, marketing, and enrollment. There are several processes, right? You must have the idea, and then only you will work on the right process. Aligning the improvement efforts, nothing but the project goals with the strategic goals of the company, and how the goals are getting deployed. That idea is very important, right? And this should be known if you are part of the project team. I mean, project identification team. Champions, master black belts and black belts, they follow a structured method, right? Like, they understand organization priority and department priority, and then understand the problems, and then wherever there is a gap, that will be, the improvement opportunity. So the dashboards at business level, department level, operational level will help you to identify the gap in performance, and then issue hopper can be made ready. At the operational level, projects are identified, and tools such as VOC, VOB, cost of poor quality helps in creating the issue hopper. A CTQ tree is a tool that translates voice of customer into measurable CTQ. Any questions?